Good evening, everyone. We're about to start our planning meeting for day shift and night shift, October 12th, tomorrow. Do me a favor, silence your cell phones, Steve, and turn your radios down if you have them on, and side conversations to a minimum. With that, we are going to start with the current situation with our planning ops. Clint Gould.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to pull the map up. So today, crews continue from Vermilion. They are coming out to the west. They've made it to about right in here, which is where China Camp is almost located. Conditions today, fire is pretty active out there. They're waiting till conditions are right, and then they're going to start doing some burnout off the lines to help put some black in between the fire's edge and the fire. Plan is they'll continue working through the evening as long as conditions warrant that we can put fire on the ground and keep that fire in check so we can continue working to the east or west. Down here in Division November, like I said yesterday, from drop point 33, they're still continuing around. They're coming up past or just to the north of Florence along the fire's edge, and also working from the top down. It's a lot of rock in that area, so they're cutting from rock to rock. Progression's going well. No issues being reported coming out of November. Coming back into Papa, they're still continuing their direct line construction, getting out just to the north of Prior Lake, and then that's where they're going to start and drop down into the horseshoe. Looking at everything out there, there's a lot of rock out there, so they're going to start going lake to lake, but that is still in progress. Bottom side of Papa still looking real well. No movement. IR's not showing any heat on that. Coming down into Romeo, a lot of hose being pulled out there today along with mop up. I do not have the total numbers of hose that has come out so far. We will get that tally at later on this evening when divisions come off and can report. The rest of the fire is looking extremely well. Crews still actively engaged, patrolling, mopping up, and pulling off backhaul as needed. And suppression repair is still repairing roads and dozer lines. In the report.
All right, thanks, Clint. Our operational objectives and our management objectives have not changed. Are they still valid?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. And with that, we will bring up John Pendergast with fire weather.
So we turned the corner today on the passing system that we had on Saturday. And the nice thing about today is we had a lot of clean air out there. So really good conditions for both aviation and just visual spotting from the ground level. So we'll go to the first slide here. This is the image here is a hotspot image that shows just a small black area there in Fresno County where we had some early smokes there going on and some heat from some burning activities. Next. Of course, one of the biggest impacts from this fire is, for the public purposes, is the air quality conditions. And this is a really good visual here showing what we had yesterday in the afternoon and then how things really markedly improved. These are probably some of the best air quality conditions that we've had in the fire vicinity over the past couple of weeks. So everything was combined for good conditions today. Next, please. So, okay, looking ahead for the forecast. Just on the chart here, this is how things are going to be starting to heat up tomorrow. These are the high temperatures forecast for the valley areas are depicted here with the actual numbers, but even at the higher elevations, we're going to start getting up into the 70s tomorrow and even some 80s probably around mid-slope area by the day tomorrow. And just visualizing the heating trend as we go forward through midweek, mid-90s cropping up in the valley areas and the lower elevations. Just the beginnings of a long trend of warmer and drier conditions for Central California. The next, please. So I've been showing this the past couple of days, just showing the evolution of the ridge across the west. At midweek, the ridge really starts working into the whole west coast of the U.S., including California. And late in the week, the ridge magnifies even further north towards the Pacific Northwest. The low pressure area that you see down there is this tropical system that's working up. It's going to be weakening, though. It won't be affecting us with any conditions, even cloud cover, as we move forward. Next, please. So the all-important weather matrix going out for 5 days out in the future, showing lots of green for today. So we had one last day before we turn the corner to those warmer and drier conditions. We start seeing some 70s cropping up at elevation tomorrow. And then we start really towards the middle of the week. We get up into the moderate and high ranges as far as for fire environment. And I'm highlighting particularly Thursday and Friday for critical days due to temperature and humidity conditions, as well as lack of humidity recovery at the nighttime periods. One saving grace that we're going to see with this during the course of the week is that the winds are not forecast to be terribly strong any of the days. It's mainly just going to be a slope wind that develops in the afternoon and then downslopes at night. So that is one good thing, despite the warm temperatures. And I believe that's it.
Thanks, John. All right, for fire behavior, we did get a chance to fill, hopefully, our our LTAN/FBAN should be here by Tuesday, but I talked to her this evening. One thing she did want to highlight was exactly what John said. We're going to start seeing those fuel moistures dropping as this sun and solar radiation gets down on the fuels, which is going to be a target for the fire to start creeping through underneath the canopy there. Once it gets into the open, unshaded areas, we could see some active fire behavior. The good thing is, when she was looking at satellite imagery, a lot of this stuff is in some pretty broken country, so that is something that is going to be some sort of good news for fire carrying unless we get a significant wind event. All right, with that, we will turn it over back to Clint Gould for I'm sorry, I'm going to turn it over to safety with Nick Bianchini, and he can give a safety update.
Good afternoon, Nick Bianchini, safety trainee. Things have been pretty little static for us, which is good. Collaborated with operations today. We're keeping the 215A current, and so it's all pretty much the same. We did increase our EMS load, so now we have a total of 12, and we have pairs up in each and every division. And we have a different ambulance, which is 4x4 capable, which is actually a nice change there. 7 line EMTs still out there, and 4 team safeties. All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, Nick. And now we're going to bring on bring back up our planning ops, Mr. Clint Gould.
So good evening again, everyone. So there is no change in overhead. All divisions and operations folks that we've had out there for the last few days are staying in place. So a lot of what I'm going to say is going to sound like a broken record, but it is what the plans that we have for the day. So in Division Mike, they're going to still continue with that direct line construction from Vermilion heading west out towards China Camp and trying to get down into South Fork of the San Joaquin to button that up there. Defensive burning as needed, but they're going to keep going and moving on with that. Division November, hopefully within the next 24, 48 hours, we'll have line completely around that, and those folks are going to continue with that direct line, hose lays, and mopping up those edges as appropriate. Division Papa, once again, they're going to continue that direct line, working in the that Sample Meadow area, coming down, trying to get down into the ridge lines above Pryor, and trying to lock that off in the center, direct line, mop up, and proceeding there. Division Romeo, like I say, still got a lot of hose out there. We'll see how much is left after today's shift, but it's patrol, mop up, and pulling hose. The rest of the divisions, as you wrap around the bottom, it's more or less the same that we've been doing. It's patrolling. We're still getting service calls out there due to nuisance smokes out there in the communities. So those resources are responding to those, patrolling, mopping up, and pulling excessive equipment as they find. Suppression repair, still doing a lot of work around the Shaver Lake area, and continuing with roads and dozer line improvements. Still have night shift out there. The change that we're doing there is we've sent out an additional division. They were out there last night, got the lay of the land. Now it's broken into 2 separate sections. One is going to be Mike November, and the other is going to be Papa Romeo. That way the distance between the two is reduced for that overhead management. So critical needs, we're still needing a few crews, couple engines, and the crews are primarily for the night shift at this time with the distance that they are getting, making sure that if something pokes up to where they need it, they've got it. Additional engines just to pump the hose lays that we've got going on out there, and need a few extra falling mods, and send a report.
Awesome. Thanks, Clint. And for air operations, Brian Sexton.
Good evening, everyone. I did have a successful, productive day for aviation. We're able to work helicopters to roughly about 1,500 until the visibility deteriorated out there. We were able to reposition some helicopters over to Mammoth Helibase. We have 3 Type 1s and a Type 2 available over there, and tomorrow we will reposition an additional Type 1 out of Aubrey over to Mammoth. For tomorrow, we're going to be, I've been working with North Zone Air Ops and going to be adjusting the fleet and repositioning aircraft. So they're transitioning out of Mariposa Helibase, going to reposition a Type 2 and a Type 3 over to Batterson, put a couple helicopters there, and then close of business tomorrow, going to be releasing a Type 3 and a Type 1 helicopter. So for tomorrow's fleet, though, we will have 6 Type 1s, 6 Type 2s, and 3 Type 3s. We will have Helco, Air Attack, and the Cobra available for IR, and then we still have Helicopter 407, the Medevac night hoist-capable helicopter available out of Visalia. End report.
Thanks, Brian. All right. Looking for team consensus. Logistics. Communications. Medical. Information. Finance. Did the resource advisor make it in today? No. Okay. Liaison. Awesome. And I don't see any cooperating agencies, so we will ask our agency administrator. Awesome. And with that, I will turn it over to Mike Strawn for concurrence and final comments.
Yeah, I approve the plan. So truly what's going to happen over the next 24, 48 hours is we're going back into hot, dry conditions and change in fire behavior. So we've experienced good weather while we've been in here so far. That's the big change. So focusing on supporting the firefighters and engaging properly is where we're at. So as we go in tomorrow and into the fire window, that's the big issue, is being in the right place at the right time when things change. So with that, have a safe evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Mike. All right. Just a reminder, IAP components are due within the hour, 1,800 to resources. I want to thank those who have already got them in. It's really helping our resource staff not be up until after midnight. Our next briefing will be tomorrow morning, 0700. And with that, have a good night, and turn your cell phones and radios back on.